going to try real hard not to spill this coffee all over your beautiful furniture.
Yeah, my new carpet. Thank you very much.
Yeah, brand new carpet too. Look at this. This is not where I need to put this.
Haley would be way more upset.
We're going to do our best. Pull that thing right into you.
There you go.
Well, it doesn't have to be that close, but you can pull it down. You can pull it down and like articulate it up if you like.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Get down in your way.
I'll get it down. That's better.
There you go. How's that feel?
That's all good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's cool.
You get a quiet voice anyway.
I do.
For the most part.
I'm not a shouty man.
Chris, thanks for doing this.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
We're in your living room in Worthing, England.
We are.
This is actually like almost rivals how nice my podcast studio is.
Yeah.
Like your living room.
Minus the pizza table.
Yeah. So,
up.
yeah, that's still just kind of like haphazardly put together because the booth is exactly what I wanted. But the table, my friend Aiden Templin, he was there in Chattanooga and we were going to record like that day. And I didn't have a table because he actually helped me load the booth into its spot.
Right.
And I went on Marketplace and just so happened to find that table for like $30, like 10 minutes away. So we literally went and got it and then hooked all the gear up and recorded.
Yeah.
So that's not the table I want because it doesn't fit the booth well. It kind of needs to be more of a square table with like radius corners or something like that.
But it works because if you wanted to have more than two people, say, then it's just like a nice space that kind of encompasses everything and just kind of like draws it on. It's a nice space. I like it.
And so that's the plan. But I suppose no matter the shape of the table, you could be eating pizza there and look like you're in a pizza shop. Because that booth quite literally came out of a pizza shop.
Yeah, I love it.
Which is hilarious.
It's amazing.
But we're in your place, and your place is filled with fun mid-century modern stuff.
Yeah.
Which is just fantastic.
I'm glad you like it, man. It's comfortable, really comfortable.
Well, for anyone who's watching on YouTube, I mean, behind us currently is your fantastic movie collection.
Yeah.
And that's something you and I both have in common, and I'm sure we'll talk about that.
And music, obviously.
Yeah, music.
All the music.
We will certainly talk about that. That'll definitely be a music podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
pre-warning.
We have behind us quite impressive DVD collection of movies, which is awesome. But coming here was not in the plan.
Nope.
The totally last second. Today is, what is today? Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, yeah.
And this past Sunday was Roll Hard, and we saw you up at Bicester Heritage in Bicester. And and you were like, what's the rest of your guys' plan after this? We're like, well, actually, Monday and Tuesday is kind of like up in the air. We're not sure. All we know is we need to get to London on Wednesday, and then we're out of here on Thursday. And you're like, well, I've got Monday and Tuesday off. Like, you should come down. And I was like, oh, man, like the closest. So basically, we're on the south coast of England.
Yeah, right at the bottom.
Yeah, and Chichester isn't too far north of here. Well, I mean, I guess it's like west of here. But
yeah, kind of like northeast.
Really? No, we drove through Chichester on the way here.
West.
Oh, anyway, it is west.
I don't know where I am.
I was like,
I've only lived here my whole life.
I think I've got a better point of bearing on like where it is than...
It's like, I'm not even from here and you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where Goodwood is.
Yeah.
And that's where Players Classic is held. And that's the show that I've kind of reoccurred at over the years. And so that's far south, I guess, because we did as we talked about this afternoon, I held the Governors Club meet in 2019 right at Billy on the Bay or something like that. Was that what it was called?
Billy on the Beach.
Billy on the Beach Cafe right on the coast of the English Channel. But we're here. You're just outside Brighton.
Yeah, so about like 20 minutes away.
And Brighton, I've always wanted to be like see this area. So that was kind of a no-brainer. And it was 4 hours from where the car was at my buddy Steve's in Wales. So we were in Bicester. We wanted to have the car there, but then last second it was like, I guess it's just like a no-brainer to get a free ride up and a free ride back if we decide to stay in Wales for the next couple of days. Then you're like, well, you should come down. And I was like, I looked at it on the map. It's like 4 hours. And I'm like, I don't know. And then like Sunday night, I texted you and I'm like, we're coming. Like we're going to leave in the morning.
Cool. Not working for the next 2 days or 3 days apparently. So
amazing. So the Mark III Golf just killed it. 4 hour drive, no problem. Except for when we were going to leave. Went to, like literally Steve saw us off. Like we packed the Golf. It was kind of early in the morning. It was raining, which was kind of miserable. And said our goodbyes, gave our hugs out, and we're like, all right, so good to see you. Hopefully see you again next year. And car just wouldn't start. Like, oh my gosh. So long story short, we jump started it by pushing it. He lives on a little bit of a hill, so we pop started it, got it to his unit. He had a brand new battery, which would fit in his Mercedes, and the one in the Mercedes was only 6 months old, and it was the same post orientation and size as the Golf battery. So he's like, take the battery and go. We tested it, made sure it wasn't the alternator, and we were good to go. So made the drive. Other than that, no issues at all. So we're here. We've seen your area the last day and a half now, which has been awesome.
We did the castle.
Yeah, Arundel. Yeah, Arundel. Yeah.
The mother of all castles.
So that's been on, and you know all this already, but I've had a list of English castles or British castles that I've wanted to see. And each year I come over, I try to tick one more off the list. And I knew that Arundel Castle was on that list, but I forgot where it was in the country. So when we were talking about coming down to see you, you're like, yeah, Arundel's right there too. And I was like, oh, no way. So we did that this morning, and that was insane.
I forget how, like, just unbelievably overbearing it is. Like, when you come into Arundel, it's just there. It's just huge.
You come down that hill, and it's, like, right there on top of, like, the mound.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so crazy because coming from your area, when you come down the hill into the meadow, it's like this like wide open plain, like field, and it's on the other side, just imposing. And I can't help but think what it was like in 1067 when they first started building there, or throughout the 11 and 12 and 1300s, when you came with like your crew with your horse and
rolling
buggies,
over the hill,
and you come down in there and you saw that, you're like, oh yeah, we aren't like allowed here.
Yeah,
this is not.
And all the land, you know, leading up to that, it's all wetland, so it probably would have been mostly flooded.
Yeah.
So getting kind of, you know, all the troops there, all like the heavy kind of like
to siege the castle,
siege equipment, you know, it's going to be a nightmare. And then you get to the castle and it's just like, yeah, we're just screwed.
Impenetrable.
Yeah, just unreal. Just, you know, you look at it from a distance and you're like, no way. And you get even closer and you're like, definitely no.
It's so crazy. And the fact that it's been there for so long and it's built out of stone and it's like siege proof. And man, that stuff blows my mind. Coming from America, it's like you have to see that kind of stuff. You see it in movies and documentaries and stuff, but to see it in person
and just touch it, just like that kind of tactile element of it.
Yeah, it's so crazy because we just don't have, like, the average American doesn't have like a concept of like tangible how old that stuff really is. Man-made structures.
Close to 1,000 years old.
Unbelievable. Yeah, like narrowing in on 1,000 years old. Another, 40 years, it'll be 1,000 years old. So crazy. So that was amazing. The weather was kind of trash at the beginning, but then it cleared right up.
It kind of worked out for in our favor because it just saw everyone off. So we're like the only people there. And like you said, you saw that history show where the guy was, on the staircase leading
going up to the keep,
and there was just people everywhere, like kind of like fighting them off. But we were the only people there.
It's so nuts, like
so cool.
What a blessing that was, because as we showed up, it was right around the time they opened, because it was just after 10. They opened at 10.
Yeah. Like most of the castle wasn't even open.
Yes, and it was raining.
Yeah,
and so nobody was in there. There was like one other family that was in there in the keep when we went up there, but there was not a single person in the castle. So that was really cool. By the time we came back out of the keep, everything else was open, the gardens and the bedrooms.
Picking up, wasn't it?
And it was just packed full of people. And I can't imagine like coming all that way to just see that castle and have to deal with the crowds.
The crowd, yeah. It worked out perfectly.
If anyone's on the south coast of England, seeing the Arundel is definitely worth it. That's insane. The cathedral, we didn't even do anything at the cathedral, but that looks crazy too.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, we go probably once a year.
Yeah.
Probably not even in the castle, just to the grounds, like the gardens, just because they're so beautiful. You just want to go there and check it out.
Yeah.
It's just a nice place to be.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get boring. So yeah, we go there about once a year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even if I lived within a few hours, once a year would be a worthwhile trip.
Yeah, it's just like a nice little kind of reminder, and it's just, it's cool. Like go see the floating crown and
that's
kind of
cool.
Like tropical gardens.
Yeah, the gardens are real crazy.
Yeah, it's just like stepping into another world, because you can imagine like them, living in the castle and like living that kind of like castle life, and everything's like kind of like stone and cold and like almost overbearing, and then you go down to the garden and it's like a tropical paradise almost.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a Game of Thrones set.
Right.
The way it's all laid out, it's amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
You guys, it's crazy because I can't imagine the people in the area that are desensitized to like how crazy that really is.
Yeah,
coming from America, it's just it's like all the documentaries I've watched, because I've like watched lots of castle documentaries, and to see it in person finally, it's just like, goodness gracious, this is it.
Yeah.
This is like 1,000 years of like man-made structure here.
Yeah.
And it's pretty wild. Like if those walls could talk, you know, the amount of like people that have been in there is so nuts.
Yeah, I do take a lot of it for granted. Like just being where we are, because we're in a really nice spot of the country. Because obviously you've got the sea. It's literally 2 minutes walk from us. When Haley's parents come down, like they're just like, oh, let's go to the sea and check it out and just hang out down there.
Get one of the beach bins.
Yeah, the beach bins. The 30 grand beach bin. Cool. Like her sister's obsessed with that, but I'm just like, you want to go to the sea? All right. Okay.
Yeah. It's not even like a sandy beach either.
It is not a sandy beach. It's just the stones.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Wheel Price, a wheel classifieds app designed by automotive enthusiasts. Wheel Price is the most convenient way to buy, sell, and trade your wheels. They make it real easy to search for the wheels that you're looking for through brand, model, diameter, PCD, and overall specs. You can communicate with sellers right from inside the app, as well as purchase wheels from inside the app. This app is free. Wheel Price is free. There's a link in the video's description and the podcast description for iOS and Android devices. Download it right to your device and get listing your wheels today. Yeah. But so I guess to kick it off with automotive stuff, you drove the Brat to Bicester.
Yeah.
Now, I can't remember if you'd said this. That was by far the longest drive you've done in it, right?
Yeah. For the last time I drove it that far was 6 years ago.
So, okay. So.
But I drove it to Players Classic.
Oh, so you did take it to Players Classic?
Yeah, I took it to Players Classic and took it to Retro Rides, which is the Goodwood as well.
This year?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So, I mean, and that's half an hour away.
Yeah, very close.
So I was just like, it's fine. So I was pretty nervous about driving it that far, but it was fine. Absolutely fine.
I mean, and you showed up, I mean, you left Sunday morning. You didn't stay Saturday night up in Bicester, right?
No. I mean, I left about kind of like mid-afternoon, I suppose, just because I knew getting home was going to be a nightmare. I just want to get stuck in traffic.
When you came up, I mean.
When I came up, yeah. That was, I came up early, left about 6, got there at 8. So it's a nice straight drive, just no one on the roads.
Not bad. Yeah. That's awesome. And that truck, so for people who don't know, you've got a Subaru Brat.
Yep.
And we'll get into some of the crazy custom work, you get into that.
Yeah.
And you've got the Subaru SVX.
Yeah.
So you've got two pretty amazing Subarus. Talk about the history, because you and I kind of touched on this a little bit. I didn't realize that you've got like family history in Subaru.
Yeah. So my granddad and my uncle had a Subaru dealership. I think it was around 84. Yeah, 84 it's set up. And that was literally just down the road from me, and they sold, Hyundais, so the Hyundai ponies.
We talked about that. Amazing.
And they had, all the Subarus. This was pre-Impreza, obviously. So, the Brat's known as the MV over here, or the 284.
Yep.
So many different names. But everyone obviously just refers to it as the Brat because it's just like, it's kind of universal.
And that's the American model for it.
It's just like everyone just knows it as that. So it's the Brat. And then the Leone wagons, basically all the kind of like utilitarian Subarus, which basically what they were. Oh, and like the Sumo like panel vans, like the K car size panel vans.
Right.
I remember my granddad had one of those, like, from the start, like a white one, and he always used to turn up at my mum's house, and like the side door would open up, and like all the family's dogs would just pour out of this thing.
Yeah.
And like it just stank of dog.
Yeah.
It was just like unbelievably strong, but he'd like have like the biggest smile on his face. He was like the smiliest guy with the strongest handshake. He was just that dude.
Yep.
And just rocking up, I just remember like hearing like the sliding door, and like the family's dogs just like pouring out the side of this tiny, like comical size, like circus van, you know, like this tiny little panel van. Yeah, it was so cool. The only kind of Subaru that they had at the time, I think it was like the RX, which was like the first like turbo.
Oh, cool.
Car.
Yep.
The 1.8 turbo. And I remember my uncle taking me out on like a Subaru dealer test day. So it would be a mix of like track and off-road. and then you just spend the whole day just messing around in these cars.
Yeah,
it's so cool. I remember like going off road and seeing some of them had like the altimeter on the dash.
Yeah, that's right.
All I remember is like looking at that thing and like feeling like you're going down when you go down a gradient like that in a car,
you'd watch it react,
and you feel like you're going to tip over. It's probably not that steep,
right?
But it feels like it. It feels like you're almost upside down and then a tip. So I'd like that was like like seared in my memory as a child. It's like a proper core memory. That and the the rest of the dashboard layout. So, but when I started modifying cars, it wasn't Subarus, it was Hondas.
Okay.
So I was like really big into Hondas, and the last car I built was like a high compression B20 EK VTI. So B20 bottom end, which was out of like a CRV with like the B16 head on it, and it was full on hardcore kind of like street car.
Yep.
I built that, loved it, but it got to the point where like it was saturated, I suppose, because everyone was doing it. It was so popular, and to make a car like that kind of like stand out from all the other builds, it was like
real difficult,
and I just wanted to do something different, and it didn't really kind of like inspire me that much. I enjoyed it, I really enjoyed it, but like it wasn't kind of like my thing 100%. I remember looking for like my next project, and just classic, just on eBay.
Had you always kind of wanted to do a Subaru? Was that kind of always in the back burner?
I never firmly in my mind, but I knew I wanted to do something that kind of meant something to me. So when I kind of like got out of the Honda scene, I was just eBay marketplace, just looking at stuff, and the first thumbnail that came up when I think I just did like a generic search, like classic cars.
Yeah. That's like what I do.
Yeah,
because I don't know what's gonna fall.
Yeah, because like I remember like back in the day when I was a kid, there's like a supplement you used to get called Friday Ad, and that was just like like it had a section with the cars in it, and like if you look in the classic car section, it's like like Minis, Austin Allegros, MGBs, and all that stuff. But now when you search for like a classic car, it's like the stuff that was new when we were kids.
Right.
So like classic car, and putting that in the thumbnail that came up was a picture of the dashboard. And if you've ever seen the
so cool,
a dashboard of a Brat, it's got like an overview of the car, like a silhouette of the car in like a target, and it's like, I know that.
Yep.
It's just like next picture. I'm just like, yes. Like,
are they kind of rare here now? Like, are they kind of like rotted
because
away
they were farm cars, they were farm trucks, so they were used,
right?
And then they were used until like they were just dead.
Nothing. Yeah.
And then they were just left on the farmer's land, and they just obviously just rotted.
They rotted away in New Hampshire, where I'm from. Like they just never lasted.
They're just not built for this kind of climate.
And those 70s and 80s Subarus were notorious for rotting out in wet and salty environments.
Yeah, like they've got this really horrible setup. Where the windscreen sits, they've got like these kind of drain holes, and those drain holes, obviously for water, lead directly into the chassis legs.
Of course they do. Like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awful.
Perfect.
So the Brat, I guess, is like equally as like hard to find around here as it is in...
Yeah, but ironically, my one I got from a lady in Cornwall who was a farmer.
Wow.
But she took care of it. She was obsessed with it.
Wow.
So she had it serviced every year, undersealed. The bed, which again notoriously rot out because the drain holes go into the chassis legs. Again, perfect.
Great job.
Yeah, just
well done.
Thank you, Subaru.
Well done,
Subaru. Thank you so much. But she had a cover on the back, and she had sheepdogs.
Like a cap or a tonneau cover?
Yeah, like a fiberglass
cap.
Yeah,
like level with the roof.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So
awesome.
Yeah, so she had that. So that saved the bed.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just so lucky that it came from that environment, but was so well kept. And the good thing about it as well is they stopped making or producing them in 92, I believe.
Wow, that new, huh?
Yeah, so from
Why?
81 to 92.
Yeah, I didn't know they were made that long of a production span.
Yeah, so
Wow.
the first gen Brat was like 79 to 80, I think. So
Wow.
and maybe like a year and a half. And
Is that Japan only?
No.
Oh, okay.
So made in Japan, but never sold in Japan.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Went straight to America and Australia and here.
It makes sense that like there was one more right-hand drive variant market than just the United Kingdom.
Yeah. But like they're called the Brumby over there.
Yep.
And they're like a big deal because they're besides like the chassis issues, but it's not much of an issue over there obviously because they don't get that much rain.
Right.
But like they're just like indestructible farm trucks. They're so good. You've got your high-low range.
Right.
You can have it like in like an eco mode, which is like normal, front-wheel drive, but then you can obviously put in your high-low all-wheel drive.
Yeah. So did they make so yours came as a four-wheel drive option because all those Subarus of the 80s were like all-wheel drive, right?
Yeah. So
That's what I thought.
it's front-wheel drive predominantly, and then you can switch it to high-low all-wheel drive.
So okay, so when you take it out of high-low, it's only front-wheel drive?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you got the SVX before the Brat, or did you not?
No, I had the Brat before.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The SVX,
okay,
yeah.
Okay, I guess I didn't know that because I've seen you out with the SVX at shows before the Brat was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like the Brat's gone like through like phases, I suppose.
Yep.
But yeah, I had space in the garage at my uncle's place, and I was like, I'll get another car.
Yep.
Why not?
Yep.
And like,
so did you always? Okay, so for me, I've always loved the SVX since I was a kid. Yeah. I mean, just what a wild looking car. The whole like half window thing, which is just stupid if you're trying to drive the thing. But watching it drive down the road, I know Subaru was kind of going for this. It looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
Like it just, so cool. But then as I became like a late teenager into my early 20s and got into cars more, I realized that they didn't make any in manual. At least in America.
Yeah. No.
All automatics.
All auto.
All autos.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't have like the experience or the wherewithal or even the finances to like manual swap one. So I was just like, I wrote them off.
Yeah.
But that was just when I was younger and I was like just tied to anything with three pedals basically.
Yeah.
So had you always wanted to do an SVX, or was that just another one of those like search for whatever?
Yeah, it was just like another like I definitely want to do a Subaru again.
Okay, so you knew you wanted another Subaru
but
project.
Again, Imprezas played out.
Yeah,
I like them, but when the Impreza first came out in the UK, there was a certain type of person that brought them.
Yes,
and they're always like, it's a rally replica, with the 555 all over it, hideous like fart sounding exhausts, which like they've got a nice burble to them, obviously like kind of like flat
boxer
sound.
motor,
exactly,
flat motor.
Like if it's like properly thought out, it sounds great, but if it's just like it's a straight through system, it sounds like trash. It's horrible. And you always get the same type of person just like flooring it. It's like as hard as I can from like 0 to 30, like around residential streets. And they always look the same, always look tatty, always like had like the crap graphics on them. So I was just like, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Like even though I did like them, like especially the wagons are really, really cool.
Yeah.
I love them, but I was like, I don't want to be kind of like lumped in with that crowd. So again, I was just like looking at Subarus, and I think I was just looking on YouTube, and like a suggestion came up, and it was a clip of an SVX, and it had the BR rev limiter things. It's like a tuning box, and you got like 2-step.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you can make it sound just like obnoxious, just hideous, and like the baffles in your exhaust are just dying.
Did it have a switch on the SVX?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's like an aftermarket. It's called a BR, so like BEE-R.
Yeah.
It's like a thing that you put on there and just make your sound, your car sound
okay.
like
Yeah.
Horrible. It's basically like, like the pre pop and bang map kind of thing. But it sounded cool regardless.
Yeah, they do kind of sound pretty good.
Because it's a flat 6.
Yes.
It's a 3.3.
Yeah. Flat 6?
Yeah.
In the SVX?
Yes.
Cool.
3.3 flat 6, which was the biggest capacity motor like they made at the time.
I guess I didn't know there were 6 cylinders. That's crazy.
So it sounds like a Porsche.
Yep.
not as cool.
Well,
but it sounds Porsche-y.
My Corvair is kind of like that too, because that's a flat six, air cooled, and it's air cooled, so you get the
Yeah.
fan sound when you rev it up
there
real
you
high.
go.
So, but it's the same kind of thing where it's like it sounds like a Porsche. But
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's like a Japanese Porsche, like
So I get
almost.
that.
Yeah,
I get that.
It was cool. So that kind of just the sound alone kind of like sold me on the car.
Yep.
Which like never really happened before.
Brat's a 4-cylinder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really primitive motor.
Right.
Like EA81, it's like super primitive. They actually use that motor in prop planes.
What year is yours?
The Brat?
The Brat.
94.
Oh, 94?
Yeah.
That's only made it. Oh, so was that last year?
That was so it was registered in 94. So it was like it's probably either like produced in 92. No, sorry, it's in 93. Apologize. It's a 93. So yeah, it was probably made in 92 and then registered in 93.
So it was like a 93 model, but like manufactured in 92. Yeah. Is it fuel injected then?
No.
Oh, they carbureted them right up to the end.
Yep.
So what's crazy, we'll get back to the SVX, but like what's crazy with that is the Mark III Golf I just bought over here is a 93, first year Mark III, and it's carbureted. And that blew my mind because,
I didn't know that.
So if we talk only about Volkswagen, the Mark I, and I'm sure some people will correct me on this, but as far as I know, and I feel like I know this, in the North America market, we didn't get any carbureted Mark IIs. Like done. By 85, because I think you guys got Mark IIs in 84.
I think so.
But our Mark I's...
So I'm not massively up on VW.
Yeah, so basically our Mark I's ended in 84. In 85, we got the Mark II. And at that point, they were using CIS or CISE, mechanical injection.
Yeah.
And then went to Digifont and Digi 2 up through 92, because the Mark II was 85 to 92. And either that or it was a 1.6 diesel. So we didn't get any carbureted Mark IIs, right? So after the Mark I, like I even had a 1.6 carbureted 84 Rabbit way back in the day. So no carbureted Mark IIs. So by the time 93 came around, we got the Mark III, carburetors have been long gone.
Yeah.
Like they've been gone for 2 generations or at least 1 full generation. So I didn't know that this Mark III was carbureted until I flew here and opened the hood and was like, no way. I didn't even know they made a carbureted Mark III.
Yeah.
Like, and now obviously here in England as well as mainland Europe, you guys had all sorts of crazy base model EcoBox options for cars, which we did too, but it didn't ever go that like, because you guys have
that low.
Yeah, like in the Mark II, you could still get like a 1 liter motor, and we didn't even get a 1 liter. Or I take that back. I'm not sure about the Mark II. I do know because of the derbies I've had some early 80s derbies, which were 895cc and a 1 liter cc.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that at that point they were that low of a cc. But anyway, I figured your Brat would have been fuel injected being an early 90s. No. So the SVX, being a flat 6, that must have been fuel injected.
Yeah.
Yeah. What year is that? 95? 96?
That's 95.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
Yeah. Again, that's like one of the, I think they made it up to 97.
Well, yeah. So what years did they, 95 to 97?
92, I believe.
Oh, that many years.
To 97, I believe. Again, correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I guess we could just search it.
Yeah, we could literally just search it.
I just wasn't sure if that was like a 1 or 2 year only car.
No, well, they made it, for a fairly long time, but it didn't sell well. Like, because it was supposed to be, Subaru's.
Should have made it in a manual.
Exactly.
Should have made it rear wheel drive or all wheel drive manual. Is it all wheel?
Yes, all wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know David, who's got the white?
Yeah, I know David. I know David personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, of course
That's
I do.
cool. Yeah. SVX friend.
So Dave from the States has a white one that he bagged, and I think he 5-speed swapped it too, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's rear wheel drive.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So the 5-speed swap is fairly simple.
And common, because a lot of guys have done that swap.
Yeah.
Because I remember he was saying online that it was like his funds were dictating air or 5-speed swap.
Yeah.
And he went air first, if I remember correctly, because he had seen people do 5-speed swaps.
Yeah.
And not too many people had done air.
Yeah.
So he went that route. Because I don't know if anyone in the States had, I mean, maybe somebody had done one.
I think he was like the first, he was the first person to bag one.
As far as we know.
As far as I know.
In the States or like?
Worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I think I was, I obviously just went down the rabbit hole after seeing the video of, like the exhaust clip, and then like seeing what other people had done to them. It's like, oh, not many people have done things, and stumbled upon an old like Ultimate Subaru thread, I think, that he had, and it had like a breakdown of like everything he'd done to the suspension.
Oh, cool. Yep.
So I was like, I'm in.
He's kind of like a tech guy, so it doesn't surprise me that there's like a build thread.
Oh, because I was deliberating what to do style wise, because I was thinking, maybe do like, like an aggressive kind of like track inspired kind of like setup.
Yeah.
Kind of in terms of like stance and wheels. Then I saw that, and then just the shape of the body, like it just lends itself to being just laid out completely, because it's a low car anyway.
It's basically a wedge car. Yeah. Almost. It's got rounded edges, but it's like a wedge car.
It's like, well, I remember seeing one. Yeah, ironically, after I'd watched that YouTube video, I was working in Brighton and I saw one. I pulled out, and then one was in front of me.
Wow,
and I was
crazy.
I was like, no way. It's always the way though with cars. Like you never see them until you start
interested.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're everywhere.
Yep. So this is before you bought yours.
Yeah, I was like, definitely getting one.
Yep.
But like you see them out in the wild, and they're so low and wide as well. They're big cars.
Yeah, they really are.
They really are.
It's
big.
like a Z32 300.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Pretty much the same proportion. Maybe a little bit longer, but like proportion wise, it's there.
But in photos, they look way smaller and sleeker than they really are. Because when you see them, you're like, wow, is that big?
Yeah.
It's a big car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only like recently, like, because my garage is like a typical British garage. It's actually fairly big for a typical British garage, because they usually just like you can get one car in there, but I can get two cars, end to end. And then I've got a little bit of space at the back, so it's like an L shape. And obviously I've had the Brat in the kind of the bigger section for ages, and the SVX has been kind of tucked away at the front. It's only when I switched them over and put it in the back, and I was like, I haven't got any room.
Yeah,
like it's huge,
big car,
massive car.
Yeah,
it really is big, and it's obviously it seems wider now because of obviously all the body work, and I've kind of accentuated all the lines, which you can look at cars and you can see like the potential in shape.
For sure. And the SVX has that.
Yeah. You can see like where it lacks, especially the front end, because it's got that kind of chin that just like juts out and then just disappears. So you need that lower front end. You need to like bolster it
like
up.
A lip. Like a
you need it to give it like that kind of width and the kind of aggressiveness. So yeah.
What was the first thing you did to it when you found yours? Well, did you get right to work on body stuff, or did you do suspension first?
Body work.
Really?
Because I wasn't sure how deep I was going to go with it, so I was like, I might put coilovers on it. I was going to put coilovers on it, definitely.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about bagging it 100%, but I was like, definitely body work.
Yeah.
Because like I've always had like a passion for doing body work.
Do you have a history in body work? Because you've done, and we'll touch on this, but you've done some pretty extensive body work, body modification, body line alteration work on both the SVX and the Brat.
Yeah, but previously no.
Really?
It's all self-taught. So
amazing. Did you start that journey on the SVX?
Yes.
Cool.
So I can't take credit for the idea of putting the bumper on that I did put on. So the bumper that's on there at the moment obviously isn't a standard bumper. It's a S14A Vertex style bumper, and I saw a render that someone had done, and they basically mashed the front end of an S14A onto an SVX, and I was like, that just works.
That's awesome.
Perfectly. It just works. So I was like, I wonder. So again, at the time, I didn't have that much experience with modifying like bodywork. I knew like the principles of it, and it's like fairly straightforward. Fiberglass, it's fairly straightforward. It's quite primitive, really, when you break it down. So remember, I went online and I found the measurements of how wide an S14A is and an SVX, like how wide they are. 5 mil difference.
Wow. So you got 2.5 mil on either side.
Yeah. I was like, cool, that's fine. The only thing that I needed to do to it was extend the back portion of the bumper
to reach your wheel arch.
to marry up with the arch line, obviously, and then cut away, where all the crash bar is at the front, cut away, a lot of the excess fiberglass, because being a drift bumper, like they're super deep, they're like there's a lot of fiberglass going on, so it's trimmed down like quite fast, and you can see quite a lot of like the crash bar kind of like peeking in there, but painted it black obviously, so it doesn't stick out so much.
Right.
So it fitted in, really, really well. It was slightly off because obviously it's not meant for that car. So when you put it on where the bumper meets the bottom of the headlights, you've just got this kind of gap. It's just like, it stops.
Right.
It's just like, it just doesn't look right. It looks like, oh, that guy's just shoved a bumper on there that doesn't belong to that car. So I got the original bumper and then cut off literally like
a piece,
a half-inch slither from the top of the OEM bumper and blended it in to the top of that bumper. So you've got the OEM transition from the top of the OEM bumper into the new bumper.
So your line against the lights is OEM.
It's OEM.
Yeah.
So it blends in perfectly.
That's awesome, because I didn't know any of that. I didn't know that you had an S14 modified bumper on the front of the car. That's really cool.
It's pretty subtle. It
is, because I've seen the car in person. Now I haven't seen the car next to a stock SVX, which I'm sure maybe you haven't.
No,
maybe?
I haven't.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I love that kind of stuff where you like think way outside the box, because there's no rules to like what you can do.
Exactly, and like it really kind of like piqued my interest, because like it hadn't been done before. Same with the over fenders on the rear as well, because the two things that really bothered me about the shape of the car was the front end and the rear arches. Some people love the rear arches, but they square off.
Yeah, they square off real shallow. Yeah,
they square off completely, and I was like, don't like that. And I didn't want that kind of like tucked look.
Right.
I didn't like that flat edge.
That doesn't have a motorsport look to it.
No, I just wasn't into it. It's like, it needs a curve. So when I did the over fenders, I just obviously chopped out the rear arch and then just put a new line in there. But all I did for the over fenders for the rear is fiberglass directly over the rear quarters, just one layer of fiberglass, pulled it off, obviously got it loose, stuck it back on, but at the arches pulled it out to meet up with the wheels, with the spec of the wheels I had, kind of like got it stuck in that position there, and then just fiberglass like 2-3 layers over that, so it was fixed in that kind of like blown out position. And then obviously just body worked it
till it looked right,
until it looks like, again, like almost like an OEM like factory kind of finish. Like it's like almost like a factory option, almost like
a DTM SVX in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's pretty inspiring, because I've never messed with fiberglass, like in like little things,
little repairs. Yeah.
Not like a body panel. I've never done any of that.
Same.
And and I'd have the opportunity to if I wanted to, but I haven't ever, and so I haven't taken the time to dive in head first on something like that with a project. So it's pretty inspiring to know that like you started with the SVX to where the SVX looks today. Obviously, it wasn't an overnight transition.
No, I worked pretty slowly.
But man, it looks so good.
Thanks, dude.
Like it really does. And that's how we ultimately met. Was I saw it at Players Classic, maybe 2019 probably. Yeah, so it wasn't too long ago.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't think you had it in the previous years there.
No, because I think I was working on the Brat, I think, the next year after that, and I didn't want to rush it, so I just didn't bring anything to the show. And then obviously, pandemic.
Right.
So nothing happened for years.
When I saw that car, like immediately was just like that. Like, because nobody does those cars. Like nobody does. And I'm sure now there's been a handful done, but like, or maybe not. But yours, like I knew Dave's.
There's a guy, I think, I can't remember where he is in America, a guy called Caleb, who's got a black one. That's really tastefully done.
I think I've seen that one too, some photos of it. But I knew I'd seen Dave's, but it was bagged in, as far as I know, stock body. So when I saw yours, I was like, goodness gracious, what's the next level of like body work and stuff like that? And I think it was shortly thereafter, because I think I shared a photo of the SVX on Instagram.
I think so, yeah.
It was like my favorites at players type post.
Yeah.
And somebody must have tagged you or showed you or something, because I don't remember if you had already followed me on Instagram. So I think that was like where we kind of met online.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think I feel like it was right around the time that you like messaged me being like, oh, thanks, man. Like, and then we immediately started talking about music.
Yeah.
'Cause I can't remember if you'd like, I can't remember if it was then that you had listened to my Rising Sea stuff or something.
I think so, because like, yeah, you were like incorporating it into like probably like an Instagram story or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I'm into.
I feel like we got right into it. Like,
yeah, like literally just like, we're friends.
Yeah. Yeah. You were basically like, thanks for the share on the SVX. Yeah. Well, anyway, so music.
Yeah. So anyway, all that stuff, that 2 years hard work, just get rid of that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny because obviously like we both come from music backgrounds.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny how that's like at the core, in a way.
Yeah.
Because like cars are still like my main passion.
Yeah.
I grew up in a garage basically.
Yeah.
So that was around before I got into music. But it's like music's kind of like on a far distant back burner.
Yeah.
Hopefully a back burner. Hopefully it's still simmering. But yeah, we got like right into talking about music. And so that immediately like grabbed my attention too. Because we started talking about moving mountains and like indie rock music that we really liked. And so immediately we got into that. And then, and then I realized that you actually played music, like full time.
Yeah, full time.
And and every time I talk about music on the podcast, I get plenty of people that are like, more music content. Because Mason and I, last time Mason was on, we talked about music. Corey and I've talked about music a ton.
Yeah.
And we jokingly said before we pressed record on this that it was probably going to be mostly a music podcast. But so you were in a band called This City.
Yeah. So that was started 2005. First band I've ever been in.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, first band I've ever been in.
Yeah.
We were just messing around because I met Aaron, my guitarist, through my tattooist, Woody. And we went to a London tattoo convention. It was like the first one that I ever put on. And he's like, oh, my friend Aaron's coming. I was like, okay, cool. So we met up and just started talking about music. He's like, oh, I was in a band. I was like, okay, cool. I've always wanted to play music. I play a bit of guitar, And he's like, oh, we should get together and play some music. I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, cool. And then he messaged me and he's like, do you seriously want to do it? And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Okay. Yeah, fine. What's the harm in that? I'll do it. And then so we got together and it just immediately kind of like just hit it off, had the same taste in music.
You started playing guitar?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
just the two of you at the first?
Yeah, just two of us. Oh, and his best friend was a drummer.
Yep.
So he's like, oh, do you mind if Ken comes along and drums? I was like, whatever, dude. Like,
yeah, just having fun.
Just having fun.
Yep.
So, booked a couple of practice sessions, and within first session we had a song, and it was different. It didn't sound like. Well, it sounded like a mash of stuff we listened to, but it was like...
Was it heavy then?
Yes and no. It was like...
I didn't know if you guys like kind of caught like a shimmer of like what you would ultimately be right away.
Yeah, so like I haven't played it to you yet because I'm actually kind of embarrassed by it.
I'm the same way with my old music. Well, and actually any of the music I've ever done. So I totally get that.
Yeah, so like I'm proud of it, incredibly proud of it because of what we achieved, which most bands do not. And
insane that it was your first band too,
yes,
because that's wild.
That pissed off a lot of people in Brighton.
Yeah,
because there's a music academy in Brighton called BIM, and it's like if you want to be a musician, you go to BIM, and like there's a lot of BIM bands out there, and they're like
Brighton Institute of Music.
Yep.
Oh, how about that?
No, sorry, BIMM, Brighton Institute of Modern Music.
Ah, okay.
Close.
Yeah. Well, I just assumed.
So close. So close. It's obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ruffled a lot of feathers because they're like musicians and we were.
Okay, yeah. So, well, I mean, to
it was like so hacky
to lay it out. Yeah. So I mean, so why were they mad? Because obviously you guys kind of took off.
Yeah. So we like the first song. Well, we wrote two songs.
As a 3-piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guitar, two guitars, and drums.
Okay.
So no bass.
So are you vocalizing at this point?
No.
Okay.
It was just, it was instrumental.
Instrumental. Cool. Yep.
So one was like, kind of like a pop song, kind of like, arrangement. And the second one was like more progressive, kind of like the stuff that we listen to.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
it like kind of like
edgier.
Goes off on a tangent, like builds, swells, drops back down
Has
again.
a lot of character to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got heavy parts. It's got soft parts. But the first song was quite poppy in its like arrangement and sound, so it had a lot of that kind of like disco drum beat, like a lot of hi-hats, so really kind of like bouncy,
peppy,
sounding, like kind of like upstrokey guitars, like really kind of like jaunty, jaggedy sounding, just fun. Just a fun sounding song. We're like, we need a vocalist, like we need someone. So we had a few people try out. Didn't really work out because in our heads, like we wanted someone like, like Blood Brothers sounding.
Yes,
we wanted all that sound, just like
chaos.
Yeah, we wanted like that kind of like chaotic sound,
super
but, like,
weird and like yeah.
We wanted to like really kind of like mix it up, and we just want to have fun. That's what music's about. It's just having fun. Don't be in it to please people's ears.
Right.
That will happen naturally.
Yep.
With with something that you enjoy. Yeah, so we had a few people, didn't work out, and Aaron's just like, fuck it, dude, you sing. And I was like, what? So
why?
Why?
Yeah.
It's like, so much effort.
Yeah.
So yeah, tried it out, didn't know how to sing. Still don't. It wasn't singing. I can sing.
Yep.
But I never sang kind of properly. It was this kind of weird, not screaming, not singing, yelpy kind of, almost kind of spoken word-esque, but not, just weird. But that's what made it stand out.
Right.
It was just so different. And this was MySpace days, obviously. So MySpace was, obviously, if people don't know, MySpace is like, at the time, that was the place for bands.
Still to this day, argued, in my opinion, to be the best streaming website for music and bands ever.
And discovery as well, because you would go onto someone's page, they would have obviously their pictures, their bio, but they would have a feature where, like, as soon as you click on their page,
the music
starts playing. And it's whatever band they were listening to, so they would like go onto that that band's page and be
add
like,
it to your page.
Add it to your page. So an amazing way of like discovering music.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what the hell's that? And it's like that band. Go to the page, follow, whatever, buy the music, download their music.
What a great idea too.
It's amazing.
It was. And I remember
so simple.
And I remember you probably get this too. I remember going to people's pages. And I can't remember if you got a notification or not, but I remember going to people's pages and my music would be on their page. Yeah. And it would be like, whoa, this is insane. Yeah. And no more often than not, it was someone that I knew that would come to our shows and stuff like that. But yeah. So anyway, MySpace days.
Yeah, MySpace. So it obviously the thing to do, so made a MySpace page, put the music up, the 2 tracks.
And now you were the singer. Now were you still playing guitar at this point?
Yes.
Okay, so not frontman.
No, so I was I couldn't sing and play guitar at the same time.
So you just kind of yelled, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I was just like, guitar, sing, just forget to sing or forget to play guitar. So I was like, it's not going to work.
To be fair, it took me a long time to figure out. It's not going to
work. Like, I'm just not a multitasker.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously found, more band members, but we put, those 2 songs up on MySpace, and within, just I was putting up a day, it doesn't sound like a lot, but we got like, kind of like 300 views or listens.
Yep.
And I was like, well, that's actually like, that's pretty good. You know, like, it's like, imagine like you start, probably the equivalent nowadays is starting a YouTube channel. And with a day you get 300 subscribers.
Exactly.
Basically, it's the same thing.
Yep.
And then about a week or 2 into it, started getting messages. So from indie record labels.
Wow.
There's one called, it's a British label called Fierce Panda. They put out the first Coldplay releases.
Wow, really?
So we started speaking to them.
This is on the back of the 2 songs you put out?
Yes.
Wow.
The dude was called Guy. I can't remember his last name. So yeah, started talking to him and interest out of that, and then a few more things came out. I didn't actually tell you, but what was the pop punk label at the time? The really big one. It wasn't Fueled by Ramen. It was the other one, the one that's Newfound Glory and all that stuff were on.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Drive Through.
Yes, they messaged us.
Oh wow!
So
Drive Through did,
because it was. Is it Stacy and her brother that?
I wouldn't know.
That owned it.
I'm surprised I remember Drive Through.
Same. I was struggling. I was like, come on, John, remember.
I came through. Like, you had faith in me.
Yeah.
Side note, Fueled by Ramen had some amazing bands.
Yeah,
on it.
I know.
That's crazy.
Some trash as well.
But Drive Through, incredible.
I know. I literally and my girlfriend at the time was just like, Drive Through Records.
Yeah.
And they're like, send us some more stuff. And it's like, we haven't got anything.
Yeah. I guess I forgot that Newfound Glory was on Drive Through. So they reached out to you.
Yeah. And we sent them more stuff and never heard back from them again.
Oh, I mean, that's still kind of cool, though.
That was still cool.
Yeah.
That was still cool. But the guy that originally messaged us on Fierce Panda, we went through with like that kind of deal. It wasn't really a deal.
Right.
It was like we'll put out these songs for you on vinyl.
And we own them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad.
But we didn't care.
Right. Young kids don't care.
That's the thing. And that's when record labels just like rubbing their hands together. And they're like,
yes.
Silly children.
Yes, unfortunately. But I was there too. Well, I wasn't there with talking with labels, but I was there once where it was like, I'm sure at some point when I was playing music, any swinging label that came my way would have been like, yep. Well, maybe not. Yeah. I guess that's speaking too softly against my character. But like, yeah. So, I mean, that's incredible that they reached out to you on like 2 songs that you threw up on MySpace.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you were just like, we should have been a 5-piece, we were a 3-piece. So that, and then it just kind of snowballed from there.
So you went with what's it called, Fearless Panda?
Fierce
Panda.
Yeah, okay. Fierce Panda. So that was it was just like we'll put out the single. We'll do the single. So okay, cool. And then obviously wrote a few more songs, put out a few tracks like independently. Got more interest, and it built up, and we had, more and more people kind of like showing interest in us. We were playing shows like all the time, playing as many shows as we could. Just the thing you got to do is you just got to play shows.
Yep.
As many shows as you can. Just obviously exposure, and to get better, obviously, just to get that kind of like that close knit.
To get tight.
Yeah.
To play tight.
Because you can tell when a band is tight.
Absolutely.
It's effortless.
Yep.
It's everyone's just on the same level, that they know what they're thinking.
Yep.
Each other's thinking. It's just natural.
It's the most important thing for a band.
It is, and you know when it happens, and you know when you see it.
Right.
Like when you see a big band, it's just like effortless for them. They just do it. So we're just trying to get to that level, and it's and we just went on for a few years, just like grinding away, and then we started getting more and more shows, like big, higher profile shows.
Yep. Touring England specifically.
Yeah, just England.
Yep.
Getting bigger support slots, and then we got a booking agent.
Yep.
So we got ITB, which is International Talent Booking Agency, I think. Yes. And their roster was just like unreal. And we're just like, okay, you want us? We're like, sure.
Wow.
Because it opens up the door to bigger bands. Obviously,
more exposure.
It's who you know in the industry. As of pretty much every industry is who you know.
Right.
It helps a lot. So we're getting these bigger slots, and these bigger high profile shows. And I remember we had 2 labels. I wouldn't say fighting, but like interested, very interested. One was Red Bull Records. They just started.
The energy drink?
Yes.
Wow. I guess I forgot about that.
They just started a record label.
Yep.
And they were looking for bands. UK bands.
And the second label?
Epitaph.
Unreal.
So
in like 2010-ish? 2009-ish?
Like late noughties. Yeah.
So, like, that's huge in those years. Epitaph was like it. It's like Epitaph and Equal Vision. Or I mean, I guess Tooth and Nail was still like real relevant then.
Yeah,
but
still,
like,
yeah.
Obviously their own genre, but like, wow, yeah. So Epitaph and Red Bull.
Yeah, so we were stoked. Obviously, it was just like unreal when we heard about it.
At this point, were you still a 3-piece?
No, we were a 5-piece. So
5-piece now.
We had been for like a year or so.
Now you were the front man and 2 guitars, or you were 3 guitars and you were singing and playing guitar.
2 guitars. I was just vocals, purely vocals.
And that relinquished your burden of having to play guitar.
Yeah. So also my lack of talent.
So you were free to roam the stage at this point.
I was like free to kind of like.
Yep. Like explore the stage.
Ponce around on the stage, and just kind of like just a bit kind of like Taking Back Sunday kind of esque.
Yeah.
Mincing around.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, because that was one of the big bands at the time,
right?
And it all kind of like came to like a head, I suppose, where we got offered a show, and if
before you went with one of the labels,
yes,
yep.
And if you're from the UK and you're seeing bands at the time, there's a venue called the Astoria in London. It's now been demolished and it's a train station. It's Tottenham Court Road train station, but it's like the venue. It's like 2,000 cap venue.
Yep.
Just old school venue, dirty, but like historic.
Right.
Just an amazing venue. Everyone, obviously, that's like, you want to play there. You want to play at the Astoria, and you want to play Brixton Academy in London. Those are the 2 venues. Oh, and Coco. But like Astoria was always like the one, because you'd see all the bands there. You would see, I saw Thursday there like so many times.
Yeah.
It was just like, they would always just gravitate to there, or they would go to like, there's a venue underneath the venue.
Cool.
So you go there for obviously like for the smaller bands, but we got offered a support slot in the Astoria at the main stage, supporting Taking Back Sunday.
Huge. And this was 2009 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was before we recorded an album or anything like that.
Yep.
And
so you didn't have an album out.
No.
You just have a couple singles or whatever.
Yeah, we had like enough for a set,
And that was near the end of the Myspace reign.
Yes. Yeah. It was kind of like petering.
Facebook taking over.
Yeah, it was like petering out. So,
yep. Wow. Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah, so Taking Back Sunday, and obviously at the time, like huge fan.
Yep.
Tell All Your Friends was just like mind blowing.
Likewise.
Me. I mean, I heard that song. There's a record shop in Brighton called the Punker Bunker.
Yep.
Which is a basement below a shop, and I heard the first track of Tell All Your Friends, the end of it. When all the dual vocals are going off, and like it's all like layered and it's like chaotic, and everything's just like the vocals are just flying backwards and forwards.
Loved it.
And I was just like, what is it?
Yep.
The guy was like, what is it? And he's like, I was taking my son. I was like, give me the CD right now.
Yeah.
I'm taking it.
Yep.
So yeah, obviously obsessed with them.
I saw them in 2001 with the Starting Line. When Tell All Your Friends came out. It was like, because that was 2001. I think that was 2001 that record came out. And I saw them with the Starting Line. I think Newfound Glory.
That's the kind of band, because all kind of like, like Newfound Glory, Starting Line, like Phoenix TX, bands like that. They're all always touring together.
And the thing is, I wasn't really into pop punk, but I really liked. I'm pretty sure that was my first exposure to Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah,
I was seeing them live in 2001 and went out and bought the CD because it was like it had just come out.
Yeah,
and I can't remember who else played that show, but I was more into the Starting Line because like I really liked Kenny's vocals.
Yes.
And like Surprise Surprise to this day is like still one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
Brilliant song. But so I was in the same boat. Like I heard, we talked about this today actually, but Thursday, side tangent, the first time I ever heard Thursday was Ride BMX DVD that Glenn Milligan did. I think it was Turbulence. It was the beginning of Turbulence. The intro to that DVD was Autobiography of a Nation. Yeah. And that was when First Collapse first came out, which I think was also 2001.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Because I think I first heard Thursday before Taking Back Sunday.
99% sure it was 2001.
And it was like a crash section. A crash section of the beginning of the video was like just crashes. So when Autobiography of a Nation, when that first comes in like real heavy, it's like a bunch of crashes. And I was like, I don't like, and it was that dual vocals. Not dual vocals, but like just chaos vocally.
Yeah, exactly.
And then so Taking Back Sunday, same kind of deal, but a little not as heavy.
Yeah.
And so that I understand how huge
it was.
That would have been
big deal.
Yep.
Like because you just been listening to that band and idolizing them.
Yep.
Like it was just like absolutely mind blowing. And like I found out I was talking to them like backstage and they'd actually picked us. They were like given like a list of bands.
Wow.
You got these guys to choose from, and they picked us. So
Cool.
Adam Lazara picked us.
That's awesome.
And the other and the guitarist, I can't remember his name.
Because John wasn't with them anymore.
No.
You're right. Bummer.
Yeah. Bummer.
Imagine what they would have done.
But Straight Light Run.
Yes. Him and his sister, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they hand picked us.
Amazing.
Which was cool.
So
So
cool.
there was that going on, and there was Red Bull Records and Epitaph Records at that show as well.
No way. They both were there? They had people there?
Yes.
Wow.
And there was a guy called, I think his name was Greg Hammer.
Greg Hammer?
I'm pretty sure.
Sweet.
His name was Greg Hammer.
Is he with Red Bull?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he was.
It's like, Greg Hammer. Like, he was
Yeah.
like, just like, nice guy. And a girl called Carolina from Epitaph. So they're both there, like, kind of like fighting over us.
Mm-hmm.
Not fighting, but like, hey, like,
Trying to give you guys the best deal.
we're nice.
Yep.
Come hang out with us.
Yep.
We're like, I don't know. So yeah, that was like that aspect of it, and yeah, the Taking Back Sunday aspect, and it was sold out as well.
Wow. 2,000 people?
Just over.
Wow.
So cap is 2,000, but when you've got guest lists,
Right.
crew,
Yep.
it comes to like probably like 2,100, something like that. And I still remember to this day, like, setting up. We never had like a tech guy, so we had a guy like tech for us for that day because it was a special occasion.
It's safe to say this was the most people you'd played in front of.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Like we
Yeah.
played to like 300-400 people, and that was a lot.
That's about as many as, I think at most, that's as many as I played
Yeah.
to. And that was still like,
Yeah,
whoa, it's a lot of people.
Like people, if you say, I've played in front of like 400 people, like that's not many people. Like it is.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You get a room
Especially
full of
if they're
400
in a
people.
small room.
Yes, it's sweaty and it
Yep.
smells.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very, very hot. So 2,000 people,
Insane.
just over 2,000 people, insane. I remember
In
like
such a special place,
yeah,
too.
because we are, I was talking to like our kind of tech guy, like guitar guy, and I just went up to him like kind of like backstage, like behind the curtain. I was like, "Oh, you're right, dude. Like, how's it going?" He's like, "Yeah, it's all good." Like just checking out, just talking, and kind of just looked to my side and just like, "Oh," and it's just like a wall of people. Like I peeked through the curtain, it was just like a wall of people, like almost like a wave, like kind of like about to like kind of like crash over you. And, it was just wild. And then showtime like came around and kind of instincts kind of kick in.
Yep.
And you just kind of like transform into this person. It's almost like you get this kind of weird sense of power,
Right.
that they're there for you only, and that
crazy.
you kind of like command these people. It's bizarre.
Yep.
Even though obviously they're not there for you, they're there for Taking Back Sunday. But it was just this crazy feeling, and like fortunately we put on a really good show.
Nice.
It came
Yep.
together really, really well because we were like quite seasoned by that point. So we had a good like stage presence, even though the music like on record wasn't that heavy. We played heavy.
Nice.
We were like, the amps and guitars, whatever, we would turn up to a certain level, and then the guys would be like, "You're too loud, like we're going to turn you down." And then we get on stage and be like,
Yeah. Nice.
"Fuck you."
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, it's going loud, and they're just like,
Soundboard
just
is
son of a
yeah.
bitch.
Yeah.
Like, and so
Yeah.
like, vocals and stuff would be like, just like, "Oh, it's going to 11. Sorry, buddy."
Yeah.
So yeah, again, like the music wasn't that heavy, but we played it hard.
Right.
We would play like loud as we could, and we would just throw ourselves around as much as we could, just
Sick.
put all the energy into it as possible. Even though the music, again on record didn't sound like that, we would just put on a show.
Yeah.
We'd just
Yeah.
have fun and just throw ourselves around, and just like, and people like really responded to that. They really, really liked it. So ultimately, we ended up going with Epitaph.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Because we had managers at the time as well, and they were like, we've looked at the deals and just works out.
Legendary deal too, because
Pretty good.
I didn't even know Red Bull was a record company. You know what I mean? Like, so didn't really go that far.
No, it was good, but a band we knew, I think they're still together. They did sign with Red Bull.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even know they were a record label company, but but Epitaph was just huge, especially then, just massive.
Just because obviously, like the core of it, obviously, like
Bad Religion.
like Greg.
Yeah.
we're just like,
it wasn't a corporate feeling thing, I'm sure, because he's like a musician.
Yeah, exactly. And they were based because it was Epitaph Europe, so they've got two divisions. They've got Epitaph America, Epitaph Europe, and obviously, he runs the whole lot. Obviously, still he oversees the whole lot, but Europe was like kind of like its own thing, based in Amsterdam.
Yep.
And we're like, we'll pretty sure we can go with you guys. Like,
nice.
Great. And then like they flew us over to Amsterdam, put us up in like this hotel, and then like showed us around the offices and stuff. And then that night, we went there to meet them and then play a show. And then we played a show with Derek Lixon.
Who?
Dennis. I've got that wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Dennis Lixon, sorry.
We talked about that this morning.
Sorry, I was like, I got his name completely wrong.
Derek who?
You're like...
Because I brought up that Refused was one of my top favorite bands, which it's so hard. There's like 5 number 1 spots. I can't choose.
Yeah, it's impossible.
And Refused is one of them. And I mentioned that today.
I was like, oh.
And you were like, I played a show with Dennis Lixon in Amsterdam. And as if I should know that Dennis was the singer of Refused, but not knowing that like, that's like huge. Because Refused, although none of the music I played, especially myself, like all my solo stuff up through what is now the Rising Sea, is nothing like Refused.
Yeah.
That band like just inspired me in so many ways, and Dennis Lixon was at like the forefront of that. Yeah. And for me at least. And although I didn't ever really get into the International Noise Conspiracy, when you said that you guys like got signed to Epitaph and went to Amsterdam and played a show with Dennis Lixon, that was my first question was it with the International Noise Conspiracy?
Yeah, it was.
He said,
it was.
Which is still amazing because that guy is such a legend.
Yeah.
And even though Refused broke up in like 98.
Yeah.
But I mean, what an experience to like play a show with that guy.
Yeah. Just unreal.
I mean, New Noise.
Yeah.
Rather Be Dead.
Yeah.
Just Fan the Flames with Discontent. I mean, it's just like...
I remember hearing New Noise. It was on like MTV2 or whatever.
So that was my first exposure to Refused.
Same.
So, yes, we've had the same experience.
Yeah.
Because
the music and just the aesthetic of it as well was just like...
I didn't get MTV2 at home. And if my parents even knew I was watching MTV when I was in like a younger kid in high school, like just it was off limits.
Okay.
MTV was off limits. And I mean, I guess rightfully so for someone who was like 14 years old, 15 years old, because it's just like there's a lot of garbage on there too.
Yeah.
That was right around the time that they're starting to go like reality show nonsense. It was stupid. But I can't remember if I was home and somehow it came through it was there all of a sudden, or if I was at a friend's house. But the New Noise music video came on.
Yeah.
And it was just mind blowing. And to this day, I think I attribute this to the New Noise music video and when I saw it. But to this day, I shouldn't say I really only like, but music videos where the band is playing the music, it speaks to me so much more. Even if there is like some storyline thing going on.
Yeah.
But like them in that room with the speakers and the lights surrounding and just going wild. And at the end, when he's like screaming, he's hanging upside down and they're just destroying everything. I was like, what?
Yeah, like that no bait.
Yes.
That no bait.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like blew my mind.
Yeah.
And so, as I already told you, I've got like every Refused CD, like everyone. Split EPs, Pump the Brakes, Songs to Fan the Flames of Discontent, shapeofpunk.com, all that stuff. But so although not Refused, insane that you got a chance to do that.
Yeah.
So you're in Amsterdam, you played at International Noise Conspiracy. Yeah. Did you record with Epitaph while you were out there? Is that what you were going out there for?
No, that was literally where they're based and it was just like a meet and greet kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so they're like, obviously, got to do an album. So like, yeah, cool. Like we had just shy of an album's worth of music.
Yeah.
So they're like, who do you want to produce it? Like, I don't know. I have no clue.
We haven't done this before.
I have no clue. I don't know. Like our friend in North London's quite good.
Yeah.
They're like, no.
Yeah, like someone good.
Someone good. So our other guitarist Grant, he was he's like the most talented out the lot of us, and more kind of like keyed into producers. He was into that aspect.
Yeah.
And so he like had a list of producers, and one of them was a guy called Matt Bayliss, and he was in Minus the Bear.
Yep.
He was like one of the songwriters and keyboardist.
Phenomenal band, by the way.
Yes.
We did talk about that earlier.
Yes.
Planet of Ice is a phenomenal record.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. And like, again, pioneering.
Up my alley too, for like style,
in
for what I like to play.
That kind of like mathy, but pop kind of mathy.
And the way they played live, I never saw them live, but I've like seen videos and had a lot of friends that like toured with them and stuff. And the way they like would like use their pedals and like, get all that crazy noise.
And really kind of sparked that kind of like the guitar fretboard tapping style.
In indie rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was, everyone was just like, oh, what's that?
So good.
So good. So, you know, they're like, like we'll get in contact with that guy. He's like, he's in America.
Did he have a studio?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
No. He had a home studio, but it wasn't the kind of up to their kind of standard.
Right.
I suppose. So we had a couple of options, because he was based in Seattle. So they were talking to him. We're like, yeah, we've kind of worked out a deal. He's listened to the demos and stuff, and he's into it. So they worked out, studios to use. So we will use 2 studios. First studio is a place called Studio Litho, which is kind of like downtown Seattle, and that's owned by Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam. Really cool studio, very kind of like rough in a way, but cool.
Seattle.
Yeah, it's Seattle. Pretty rough. Pretty grayer than England.
Yep.
Consistently.
Can confirm.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, cool. Rocked up to the studio and didn't know like the real history behind it. But we found out the studio history by going into the toilet and looking who had written on the walls.
Cool.
So Blood Brothers, Mastodon, obviously Minus the Bear, Eminem.
Wow.
I believe Nirvana at some point. Deftones recorded Around the Fur there.
Amazing.
Ironically, there was a fake shark hanging from the ceiling. So if you've ever obviously seen the video for My Own Summer,
Oh man, yeah, years ago.
Chino's standing on a shark cage, a great white shark cage, and it's like biting the cage.
Wow.
Which scared the shit out of me because I'm just petrified of open water and sharks.
Yep.
Which is like, I love the song, but I don't want to look at the TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, we slept in the studio as well.
Cool.
We had nowhere to stay. So we slept in the studio just like on these old pillows that we'd found around that smelled terrible.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine. Seattle pillows.
So, but the kind of like sweeten the deal a little bit is we got a little kind of like deal with Gibson.
Wow.
So they were like, come to our kind of like artist hangout in London and pick some guitars. So Aaron and Grant picked guitars, and then they, had them arranged so they'd be at the studio for us
In Seattle.
Yes.
Wow.
So they turned up. So we had like 2 really nice Les Pauls. Well, no, I think I had like 4 Les Pauls in the end, so we could like pick and choose a little bit.
Wow.
Those and then obviously a bass as well. I can't remember the exact bass it was.
Yep.
But Gibson bass. I can't remember the drum kit. It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I can't remember the exact specifics of the equipment. But we tracked everything there.
Yep.
So when you record an album, you track first. So it's music first.
Right.
You start with drums, obviously, bass, guitars, vocals are last.
Right.
So we did, 2 weeks of that.
Wow. Dialed it in. Yep.
Wrote a couple of songs as well.
In the studio
to fill it out because we're like, we can't have a 8-track album.
So yeah, especially for that amount of effort.
Yeah, like flying to the States, which is like pretty opulent, for us.
So I recorded, not changing the subject, but like I only recorded at one professional studio with all my music background. No label, but we recorded with a guy named Enoch, and he owned a studio in Massachusetts called Eastlake Studios.
Right.
And he recorded Nuclear Sad Nuclear.
Really?
Yeah, Number 12 Looks Like You.
That's cool.
He did the Acacia Strain's The Dead Walk.
Amazing.
Which is pretty cool. Acacia Strain are some local boys to me anyway.
Really?
Yeah, they're Boston or Massachusetts. Cool. And so basically what I'm getting at, the reason why I'm mentioning it is my band at the time was called How Near, How Far. And this is going to be a real quiz for you. Because you and I are
I'm not ready.
You and I are like on a very like odd same rail system for music.
We were speaking about it today. It's quite scary.
Yeah, it's like pretty insane the amount of like music that we shared a few different bands today while we were in the car.
Yeah,
that we both literally had goosebumps. Like like I showed you some stuff. I showed you like a few different bands, and you did with me.
Yeah,
so pretty insane. But other than that, we kind of are on the same rails. Well, How Near, How Far was a band that was like a solo project for me. And again, we're going to come right back around to you in the studio in Seattle because we're going to finish that. But ultimately what I was getting at was we recorded with Enoch. I guess he was Aerosmith's like sound guy.
Right, okay.
Or whatever. So whenever Aerosmith toured, he was gone.
Right.
And type deal. So when he came back, we recorded or whatever. And he had done some like some really cool stuff. Those bands, I listened to all those bands. And we did end up writing some stuff in studio, but we were only there for like 4 or 5 days, under a week. And I was surprised how easy it was to write in the studio. Because I felt like it would be rushed because there was some stuff that we had like some half finished songs. I'm like, there ain't no way we're going to be able to record this stuff. Yeah. But it was like oddly inspirational, that environment, to finish writing and stuff. But I guess the quiz I had for you real quick, so people don't get left on a cliffhanger, is the solo project turned 4-piece, which ultimately became a 5-piece with 3 guitars because I sang and played guitar, was called How Near, How Far. And then when that band ultimately disbanded shortly after we recorded at Eastlake Studios, unfortunately, I think our CD release show was like our last show. Right, it's awful. But I let that name dissolve and started another solo project, which just started as acoustic and then turned into like the atmospheric kind of like big band sounding indie rock thing that I created, and called it How Lost We Are.
Right.
So that was the second thought. How near, how far, how lost we are.
So it's like connected.
Yep. But... And one person, and shout out to my buddy Greg, the Swoops, who we talked about today, realized what that was from. And that was from a song called How Near, How Far by a band called And You Will Know Us by the Trail of Dead.
Yes.
And I figured you'd know who that band is.
Yeah.
So their second record had that song on it. And it was just such an incredible song. And I think Greg and one other person amidst the time that I played with those bands understood that was How Near, How Far, How Lost We Are is what he sings at the end of that song.
Yeah, cool.
And they both worked as like separate titles. But anyway, to go back to the studio, I was surprised at how easy that was to write in the studio. I'm sure it's different for everybody.
Yeah, but there's an energy.
There's an energy, and it was like, it almost felt like if any environment, that one. Yeah. And we had most of the music all done. I wrote a lot of like added delay, added like atmospheric guitar parts to almost every song that we recorded. I think we only recorded like 5 songs, but I finished vocals to like 2 songs and ended up actually happy with it. Yeah. So you guys were able to write a few songs to finish out more than an 8-track record.
Like a full song. So like I had
12 or so.
Yeah. So I had like no lyrics, like no music.
Wow. Started and finished
literally like from nothing. And it turned out to be like one of my favorite songs because even though it was still in the style that we were kind of known for, you could see it was starting to kind of like branch out into something else. It was it was the last track on the album as well. I think it was anyway.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And it had like elements in it that like, I was like, oh, that's what I like, and you could see it was like that's what it was kind of like leading into. So yeah, we wrote that whilst we were tracking. So they tracked the drums and guitars and bass and all that stuff. And after we did that, we moved studios to a studio out of town called Laundry Rooms. Again, Nirvana did some early stuff there.
Wow.
Movie Life did some stuff there as well. A load of other like kind of like melodic. Kind of
Last show I
hardcore
played.
bands.
I know I told you that today because it came up in conversation.
Yeah.
But Vinny from the Movie Life
Yeah.
played the last show I played.
So cool.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. That was
So
like I use that in
cool.
conversation. It's almost like I'm a has-been, but the has-been, the end of the has-been was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because the last show I played was with Bayside
Yeah.
and Vinny from the Movie Life,
Yeah.
which at the time he was pushing I Am the Avalanche.
Yeah, because
more,
that was like the first kind of like album, wasn't it? I Am the Avalanche album. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, really cool.
So yeah, got to Laundry Rooms, and I can't remember the guy's last name. A guy called Barrett that owned it, but it's his house.
Cool.
Studio in his house, and he like just they're like, yeah, like we'll pay you to leave your house for 4 weeks. He's like, okay, cool.
Nice.
So we just took over his
Was
house.
that for mastering?
Yes. Well, like, we're tracking, doing vocals.
Oh,
And
okay.
Just kind of like wrapping everything up and just like obviously making changes, which you naturally would do.
Right.
Because you listen to songs just like hundreds and hundreds of times.
Yep.
Just be like, change this, change that, or change it back again.
With your eyes closed, like just listening
Just
and
like,
being like that down.
And be like bored out of your mind, just like, I don't listen to this song again.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the sound of my own voice.
Been
It's
the
like-
whole thing at this point. Yep.
So so I spent 4 weeks. It's 4 weeks doing that, and the whole experience was good, and there was bad elements at the same time. Like Matt, amazing producer, not the friendliest guy in the world.
You were talking about that.
Yeah, not the friendliest guy in the world. Didn't really get like the way English people are.
Yeah, just your witty banter.
Just the way we are. Like, if you're not British, then you wouldn't understand. Like,
you all right?
you're right.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, cool.
That's it. Over.
Or you're right. Be like, yep,
Yep.
yeah. Or you're right back. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to. It's you all right? Yeah, you're all right. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Right,
it.
That's it.
That's it. That's
Interaction over.
done. It's just like a hi.
Stop asking me
Yeah.
if I'm okay.
Sorry, Matt. You psychopath.
Yikes.
Yeah, he's like came in one day with his coffee, as he did, with his like iced coffee, which was like a thing that we'd never seen before.
Yeah, well, because it's
Being
always
British.
like here.
Yeah, exactly. But like, what is that? He's like jingling around. There would be like the jingle of ice wherever Matt went. It's like he's coming.
Yeah.
You can hear the jingle of ice.
Yeah.
You walk in and you'd be like shaking this thing, like shaking it, be like, Matt's here.
Yeah.
And like, you're right. And he's like, you keep on fucking asking me every morning if I'm all right. I'm fine. But like,
Wow.
okay,
Wow.
okay.
Sorry, dude.
Sorry, man. Just asking. Hey, it's just saying hi.
Kind of don't like Minus the Bear anymore.
Yeah, kind of. It's like, you suck, man.
Oh, man.
But
Yeah.
talented guy.
Yeah.
He had a few foibles, and the other one, which I told you about today, is like, we're naturally like all of us in the band, like kind of like not touchy feely, but huggy.
Yeah.
Like to hug each other.
Yeah.
It's fine, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
whatever.
it's whatever. And Matt was in the kitchen. I don't know what he was doing, probably playing with his iced coffee.
As he does.
Just jingling. Aaron went up to behind him and gave him a big bear hug from behind. And he just freaked out.
Freaked out. Yeah.
Like, turned around, slapped his hand off. He's like, don't ever fucking touch me again. And Aaron's just like,
Wow.
oh,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, sure.
Holy cow.
Never again. I'll never
Jeez.
touch you again. That's fine. And we're all just like sitting there eating a breakfast, just like,
Wow.
Matt's really angry.
What an angry person.
He's an angry, angry man.
He either had too much coffee or not enough.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the two.
The key would be figuring that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the key is definitely like a regulated amount of of caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key to Matt's happiness.
Wow.
Hope he's not listening. He'll probably track me down.
I don't know if this is going to get to him or not.
You never know.
Yeah, you are correct.
You never
sir.
know.
You never know.
But yeah.
Planet of Ice is still one of my favorite records.
Yeah,
though.
still love your music, dude. Just an angry man, but I did
Yeah.
make him laugh on occasion, doing
That's
a
good.
really bad Southern American accent. He really enjoyed that, a scary amount.
Yeah.
He really laughed hard, and I was like, when someone's laughing a bit too much at your jokes, you're just like,
Psychopath.
you're like,
Yeah.
that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop.
Weird.
just, yeah. But again, talented guy.
So you get the record done.
Got the record done. Him. Yeah, all done. The annoying thing about the process is he was very controlling about it.
Really?
So he would... It sounds really bad. If you're a musician, you'd understand that it's weird that he would only let one of us into the mixing room at a time. He wouldn't let the whole band in. So we could collectively alter.
Talk about,
and
right.
Talk about it and just make adjustments. It's like, no, one at a time. You're doing your bit, you come in, next person comes in, you do your bit, no one else comes in. So we didn't have really kind of much...
a collective outlook on...
input. Yeah. So, because obviously, obviously someone else will think of something that you're not thinking of.
Right.
And you're like, why didn't I think of that? So, yeah, we missed out on that. And he did actually admit to us later down the line that he's like, I'm sorry. I should have let you guys... I should have let you guys, have some input in your own record.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. We know, it would have been nice, but yeah, we got it done and everything, and obviously, released it.
Happy with it overall?
Overall, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
Epitaph was happy with it.
Yeah, they were happy with it, and obviously, we just slogged it out, played shows, did all right with it, played, opened up a lot of doors to us again. Yeah, playing shows with bands that we never thought we'd play with.
Yeah, like name some. I know you and I've kind of already talked about it.
Yeah, the big
some of your favorites.
Yeah, some of my favorites.
That you played with.
So Thursday.
Amazing. Yeah.
Obviously Taking Back Sunday. Biffy Clyro was another big one. Our drummer at the time was a huge Biffy Clyro fan, so that was really, really cool. So many that I've probably forgotten, but there was one scenario. There's a festival in Belgium called Pukkelpop, which is their festival. So equivalent to Reading and Leeds over here.
Yep.
Big festival. And the backstage had an artist. It was like a village, and you had your own little house. So next to our house, up across from us was Bring Me the Horizon. Then it was Zebrahead next to us. With Thursday, then Opeth, and then obviously just bands that we just big bands.
Yeah.
And so we became friends with Thursday mainly.
It's amazing.
Just because it's Thursday. It's Thursday, and we convinced them to play Jet Black New Year, which if you're a Thursday fan, you'll know that's one of the Thursday songs off the 5 Stories Falling EP, because it was all live tracks, wasn't it? Apart from that one track.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Got them to play that, and then got to watch it obviously from the side stage.
So cool.
From the side stage, and then again, I told you earlier about my incredibly awkward moment with Chino from Deftones.
Yeah. Was that during that?
It was during that. So I was watching Thursday, and Aaron, my guitarist, tapped me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Dude," it's look behind you. I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "It's Chino." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." I turned around. Brain malfunction. just a brain malfunction. Turn around.
He looks at you.
I look at him.
He sees you though.
Yep. Don't say a word. I just wink at him. I turn back round. Don't turn back around again for the next half an hour.
You realize what you've done.
I realize what I've done. He's probably just like, the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
I'm just
amazing.
Just dying inside.
Yeah.
My brain just I know what's going to embarrass Chris. Wink at Chino. So yeah, winked at him.
Had one opportunity.
One shot.
Yep.
Winked at him. God damn it.
Chose poorly.
I did choose poorly. It was a very poor choice.
So
it still haunts me to this day that Hayley brings that up. She's like, remember that time you winked at Chino? Because she was there.
Oh, she was.
She was there. She's like, remember the time that you winked at Chino? I was like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I'll never forget it.
Very well.
Amazing.
There's probably, when I die, it's probably going to be the last thing I think of.
Yeah.
Be like,
even if it's a quick death.
I'll be like, shit, and then go.
Was this before, during, or after Sam played drums for you?
After. He was only in for a brief
time.
Brief time.
So Sam from Architects.
Yes.
The singer of Architects.
Yes.
Played drums in your band.
Yep.
For a short time.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So he was in a few hardcore bands locally. One of them was called Nervous Wreck, I think. Just a hardcore band, because like at the time hardcore bands were just like everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially in Brighton, it was just like, it was just a sea of people with, you know, cargo shorts, band t-shirts, you know, like military hats.
Yep.
That's just like, you know, badges. Classic kind of like look.
Was that like during his time at Architects or with Architects?
Before.
Oh, before. Okay.
Before. He was young, man. He was like 16 or 17.
That's so crazy. Wow.
So and he was the drummer.
Yep.
Incredibly talented drummer. So good. And we were like, our original drummer left. And we were like, dude, you know, want to fill in for him and drum? He's like, yeah, sure. He was just game for it.
Wow.
We had one of our music videos, because we did 2 music videos for one song. And the first version, he's in it. I think it's probably still on YouTube.
Wow, amazing.
You know, but you can see him kind of like, you know, fleetingly.
What's the name of the song?
Romantic.
This City Romantic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, please don't listen to it. I'll be able to feel the embarrassment.
We own it.
Yeah. So yeah, he played drums.
That's kind of crazy because of how big Architects got with him at the lead.
Yeah.
You know, or him like seemingly in the lead.
Because I remember him telling us at the time, he's like, guys, I'm going to join Architects. And he was, you know, he was really, you know, cut up about it.
Now,
because like,
was this before Hollow Crown, or was he?
Yes.
He was singing on Hollow Crown, right?
Yes. So the first record, full length, was Nightmares, which is with Matt, their original singer.
Yep. Hollow Crown was 09, 08?
Yes. Like 08, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, around then.
But he said he was torn about it.
Yeah, so he came up to us and was like, guys, I'm like probably going to like, I am going to join Architects. And we're like, yeah, sure, I'm not going to stop you. Like, we're friends with them. Like Ali, the bassist, the current bassist, he wasn't in there at the time, it was another guy. But I knew Tom and Dan, like the twins that obviously started the band.
Yep.
And well, I remember we recorded some demos in North London, and he's like, oh, I've got a show with them in Islington. You know, can you just drop me off on the way back home? It was like, I guess.
That's awesome. Small world.
Yeah. And I remember that show very well. It's like Islington Academy bar. So like there's like venues dotted around the country. They're like, you know, the academy venues. So you've got like kind of like Manchester, like Birmingham, and you've got London, you know, Academy. So the Academy is like the main venue, and then you've got like the Academy bar, which is like, you know, the small venue. Right. Know? And they were playing that, you know, they're like kind of 25, 30 people in there. And I remember, you know, obviously the original singer, you know, playing the show, and halfway through he's like, I've got an announcement to make, like, I'm leaving the band.
Wow, so you were at this?
Yeah, we were at the show.
That's really cool.
We were at the show, and he's like, thanks for coming out, guys. This was like, yeah, either halfway through the show or like 2 songs towards the end, and he's like, guys, thank you so much. I'm leaving the band. This is my last show. And everyone, like, I remember like one guy in the front row just like hands on head, just like, no. He's the guy. He was like standing on his own.
Every single Architect show.
he might as well have had like a spotlight on him, because like, you know, he had like the big straightened hair, skinny girl jeans, of course, because you couldn't buy skinny jeans for guys at the time.
Studded belt.
Yep. To the side.
Yep. To the side.
And yeah, hands on head, just like, no.
He still hasn't recovered from that.
No, he's still standing there. He's still there. The venue's shut down.
Yeah, he's still there. It's a restaurant now.
Yeah,
he's still standing.
He's just bones. He's still there.
It broke his psyche. It just ruined his life.
Poor guy. I remember it so clearly, almost as clearly as the Chino.
There's people ordering chicken Alfredo. It's an Italian restaurant now.
Oh, don't mind this guy. He's a permanent fixture.
Oh, this is Steve.
This is Steve. He's in a lot of pain.
He's a permanent fixture.
He's in a lot of pain. There was an event.
Oh, I'm crying.
So,
I think, yeah. This is what we get for doing this so late.
I know.
I knew at some point this was going to happen.
Yeah, it was going to happen.
Oh man.
So yeah.
What an incredible experience though, because
Yeah.
like I guess, is that your phone? Oh no, neither of us.
Yeah.
I get like what an incredible experience, because for like someone like you knew him. I'm for goodness sake, Sam was in your band. But for someone like me, like I moved to Orlando, Florida in 2009 after the band I was assembling called Galleries that I already told you about. Once Galleries fell apart, before we ever even played a show.
Good name, by the way.
Thanks, man. I was really stoked on that name. And it was a themed idea.
Yeah.
Like Hans Zimmer style, like movie score, like long.
An experience.
Yeah. Like even though I sing and wrote most of the music, I didn't want to sing as much because I wanted the music, because like Explosions in the Sky, Lights in Motion, Mogwai.
This will destroy you.
Yeah, This Will Destroy You. Absolutely. Godspeed You Black Emperor. Yes. All these bands that were emotional instrumental bands like moved me in mega ways.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to like, I did sing, but I wanted everything I sang, every time I opened my mouth, I wanted it to be like super like gut wrenching, like vocals, like sad, but it like paired with the, like we played in like minor tunings, and stuff like that. And so once that band, unfortunately, like that band just had like some inner conflict, and we had this kid, and I don't know if you'll listen to this, but he just recently sent me a friend request on Facebook. But his name's Mike Sutherland, and we'll get back to the Architect show because I want to hear the rest of that, because I didn't hear that before. But this kid, Mike Sutherland, played bass for us, and he was from some small town, and he was in some band that I just remembered the name of, and I can't believe it. It was a small town in New Hampshire where there was a venue called the Sad Cafe, and he sang in a band called The Searchlight is Safety. And he was a phenomenal singer, right? Yeah. Well, he played bass, but not in the band, but he could play bass. And he had like the beginning of a rig, basically. Yeah. And he was bandless when I started Galleries. And Mike was like, I would love to come sit in with you guys. And he just sat in with us. And I was playing one of the songs or whatever. And he's just like harmonizing, like almost like the Rise of Science that I showed you today. Yeah. He just was like singing a third above me the whole time once he knew the lyrics. And around. I was like, dude, like, can you play bass? Actually, I just bought a bass. But he didn't have like a rig yet. Yeah. And so he like bought like this cheap amp, and he was like playing with us for a while. And I feel so bad to this day, and I haven't even told Mike this, but my other guitar player, Brian, used to play in a band with this other kid that played bass, and it was a band called And Then There Were None, and it was in And the Rest Was Silence. I can't remember what band. It wasn't And Then There Were None. But anyway, this kid played bass, and he had a rig. He had toured in a couple bands, and he had an Ampeg 8x10 with an SVT head, and like, you know, the rack tuner, like everything like looked right.
Yeah,
like,
the classic bass setup.
And he wanted to play bass in our band, and I'm like, yep. Because he had the rig, he was ready to go, and it was the worst decision I ever made, because it was the downfall of the band, because he entered the band, and then there became like this like divide in like what people wanted to play, because I get it, I get the artistic differences, but I had the idea for the band, and I was really wanted to see it through, and I was kind of not budging on like different, like going in different directions with the band. I was like, this is what the band's supposed to be though. And so anyway, it disbanded. It wasn't a good break, really. None of us stayed friends, except for my buddy Taylor, who had just joined as a third guitar player and third vocalist. And it was just like going to be incredible. Yeah. Taylor and I are still friends to this day, good friends. Taylor Parnell, Taylor Andrew Parnell on Instagram, phenomenal, like acoustic covers and stuff. Elliott Smith just did a Lydia one, I'll show you later. Really? Phenomenal musician. Like we still to this day talk about collaborating coast to coast, because he's in California, of writing music together. But anyway, we had disbanded, and I was riding BMX professionally at the time, and I had 2 sponsors in Florida, 3 actually, and bailed out and moved to Florida. And I remember that was February, March, or April, beginning of 2009, and that's when I first heard Hollow Crown. And that's when I first heard Architects. I was like, whoa, when did this come out? And some friends of mine were like, oh, it just came out. Yeah. So that puts that, like, that's where I was at the time. So what I'm getting around to is that Architects, like I first heard Architects with Hollow Crown, and I did listen to Nightmares, loved it. Yeah. But Hollow Crown was like, oh my, I'd never heard anything like it. Yeah. That like Early Grave, like that song, like that, like the choices I've made will lead me to an early grave. I was like, what? So from an American standpoint, not knowing any of these guys, like just remembering how like pivotal that record was for me, and like how, because I wore the digital space of that record out like on my iPod. The fact that you were at the show, first of all, that he played drums in your band, but that you were at the show where that transition was made is pretty crazy.
Yeah, thinking about it, like.
So let's go back to Steve. So his hands are on his head. He's like freaking out, right? So Matt gives the announcement that he's leaving the band. Yeah. So I'm assuming Sam comes up and finishes the set.
Yep. Yeah.
Wild.
Just kills it.
Really?
Just kills it. Everyone just goes nuts.
So good.
Absolutely nuts.
Were they playing Hollow Crown stuff?
No.
Nightmares.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they, Tom and Dan, like massively influenced at the time by, Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yep.
So they were all about
Mike Patton.
So
good.
The tech, mathy stuff. So they were just like kind of like balls deep in that stuff. And it was, Nightmares. It was just, Nightmares had just like come out, I think, or they were just like touring it.
Yep.
Matt left, and then Sam came in, and then like just kind of didn't see him again.
Yeah,
saw him again, but like not in like a social way.
Not in that capacity.
He was like, and it took a while for them to really break through. And ironically, they're on Epitaph
to this day.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure. Anyway.
But they were for a long ride.
Yeah, that's when because I had obviously deals, but like I remember going to a show in Southsea, which is like in Essex. And I was just like, I was in the band at the time, but like just messing around because I was friends with the guys, the Architects guys, so I tagged along to one of the shows, and I remember there was an Epitaph guy there, and I remember talking to him, and he was like, oh yeah, just like checking you guys out and stuff, but nothing ever came from it, and then went for years and years and years.
This was after you were on Epitaph previously?
Before.
Oh, before?
Yeah. So like I'd met an Epitaph guy at an Architect show, not knowing that later down the line we would be signed to Epitaph before they got signed to Epitaph.
Oh, wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty
I got my timeline mixed up there for a second. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's kind of confusing.
So after Sam joined Architects, was technically before you got signed to Epitaph.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty
It's
nuts.
so cool because I never knew that. Like I knew that you played music. I knew that you were signed, that you played, because we kind of talked about that kind of stuff. But it literally wasn't until today that I knew that. Yeah, that you told me that.
I don't really talk about it that much.
Yeah,
because there'll be the guy like, I used to be in a band with this guy and this guy, and I played this show, and like we were pretty big.
It makes you feel like you're like that old timer talking about like the old days.
Yes.
And sometimes
that fills me with fear.
Sometimes it makes me feel like I don't want to know. I don't know if it's imposter syndrome, but when I talk about things like that, it makes me feel like, am I making this up? Or am I bragging about something that never happened? Because in a short story, and I've shared this on the podcast before, I was like millimeters away from being sponsored by Miraco, which was Dave Mira's company. And for those who don't know, Dave Mira is the Tony Hawk of BMX, and unfortunately passed away by his own hand. Unfortunately, I don't know, like maybe 6 years ago now or something.
It's probably
But the biggest name in BMX, like literally the Tony Hawk of BMX.
Even if you don't know about BMX, you know Dave Mira.
Video games, Dave Mira. PlayStation video games. And I had won a Vans contest in Florida in 2009. The day I moved down there after Galleries broke up. So, and I think I've told this story in the podcast, but basically, I had a Volvo 850, like a 95 Volvo 850 wagon, packed everything I owned into it, and drove 24 hours straight to Florida. So it's 24 hours straight alone, just booked it down.
Is that coast to coast?
It's so New Hampshire, the short way. Exactly, but the short way. So New Hampshire touches Canada and the Atlantic Ocean. So we're way up in the top corner. And Florida is obviously down on the right-hand corner. So straight down I-95 all the way to Florida. Orlando's like mid-state. Took about 24 hours. So I was up for 24 hours, drove all the way there, arrived at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, got my car unloaded, kind of got my room set up. At that point, it's like dark. A bunch of friends came over because I was in town now. I lived with 2 of my other buddies who were riding BMX full-time. So it's just kind of like a BMX house. And then we went out. We went downtown. They're all drinkers. I'm not.
Yeah.
Never had been. Never have been. So I was like designated driver. So they were partying till like 2 or 3 in the morning. The next morning was like a Saturday or Sunday, and the Vans contest was going on at the Vans Park in the Mall Millennia. I can't remember the mall. It's an indoor Vans skate park. And I already knew at that point I was not riding in the contest. I was more of a street rider anyway.
Yeah.
The Vans Park was kind of a street layout, but I'm like, I'm not gonna ride. I would have just driven to Florida, and I've like been up all night. Got home at like 3 in the morning. I think the contest started at like 8. Like practice started at like 8 in the morning or something like that. So I slept for like 2 hours, and then we got in the cars, built my bike because it was all taken apart. Got to the park. And I'm there on fumes, and everybody's riding around, and I'm like, I'd never ridden the park before, and I'm like, oh man, this park looks super fun. And all my friends are there, like all like my pro friends. I've been riding pro for like 5 years at that point. And I asked the girl behind the desk there, I was like, so how much is it to just ride? To just like go out there, not in the contest, but just to ride. She was like, I don't know, it was like $25. It's like, how much is to enter the contest? She's like, $25. And so I thought on my sponsor's behalf, I'm like, oh, I might as well just ride in the contest.
Yeah.
You know, because like I was riding for UGP Shoes, Madeira. I was riding for Deco, or I think Volume at the time. I was riding for Volume. I had a handful of sponsors. So I was like, all right, I'll just, because they'll call me out, and I'll like be out there, rocking their stickers and stuff, or whatever. I just wanted to ride the park though. It's like, whatever, put me in, coach. So I went in the pro division, and I ended up like, I think I might have like finished second. I don't think I won, but I took second. And Ryan Gutler and Josh Harrington, I think, were both riding for Miracle at the time. And long story short, afterwards they were like, oh, I was riding for Verse at the time, which was the company I designed my signature frame from. And they were basically like, you know, would you be interested in riding for Miracle, Ryan Gutler? And I was like, yeah, I would actually. And so anyway, they talked to Dave, and Dave knew me. Mira, and Dave was like, yeah, I would love to have him on.
Amazing.
So I had a Vital BMX interview part coming out, like we just filmed it or something like that, and or we're in the process of filming it, and they watched it and they were like, yep, like we want you on the team. And I told them Brian asked me if I was getting paid. I was like, yeah. And I told him, he was like, you know, how much you make in a month, if you mind me asking. I told him. He goes, oh yeah, we can do better than that. Yeah. So I was like, and I remember like being like, I can't believe this is happening. So, anyway, it didn't go through because Trek owned Miracle, and it just so happened right around the time that Dave wanted to put me on, Trek started cutting budgets in a massive way.
Right.
So I don't know what was going on, but Trek cut all budgets, and they're like, dude, they just cut all, we had to actually cut 2 riders from our team. Like, we can't do it. Yeah. So anyway, to come full circle, I don't tell that story often. I've told it on the podcast, so I guess that's like going out into the world. Yeah. But I don't tell that story often because it's like, well, one, now that Dave's passed, but like before it was like, well, I almost rode for Miracle, but budget's got in the way, you know, and it feels like a weird story, but like when it comes up in a natural way, it's like, yeah, actually, like Dave was like, the man was in, but it was just like a corporate budget problem to put me on the team. So.
Yeah, I used to get after I finished in the band, well, the band like broke up. I was at my job, and whenever like someone new got employed in the office or whatever, they'd be like, oh yeah, go out with Chris, like he'll show you the ropes and everything. You'll probably like him. He used to be in a band. I was like, fuck's sake.
Then you got to talk to that guy in the van.
Yeah, they're like, oh, so you were in a band then? I was like, yeah.
Oh boy.
Who do you play with? Like, what do you sound like? And it's just like,
yep.
I don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy.
Just want to show you what you're supposed to do here.
Yeah, just like, this is what you're supposed to do for work. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Please. Like some people like kind of like showed a genuine interest in it.
Yeah, that makes it different.
I didn't mind then, but like so I was like,
yeah,
I was just over it. And
that's cool though. I mean, that's really cool because I didn't know any of that, and knowing where architects went or have gone to this day, it's really cool that
they're just crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. And you hadn't heard of them, but we had another. We had about, how many was it? 1, 2, 3, about 5 drummers. Yeah. In total. Yeah. And the other drummer is in a band called Royal Blood, they're a huge band. Yep. Benji, he's like, again, another amazingly talented drummer. And yeah, they're in like, it's crazy
Wild.
band. But
It's
like,
funny how that works.
yeah, again, I don't be the guy, but like, yeah, like my old drummer's this band and my old drummer's that band.
Yeah.
Like we were this close,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
we could
were
have
signed.
We could have been big. We were signed. Just like just one more year.
Yeah. But I mean, pretty cool that you got a chance to do it in the capacity you did it.
Yes.
Because like I feel like we had the chemistry. I feel like we had the talent. I feel like we had like, which is unfortunate, but we had the look. You know, because that was
a big part of it.
Big part of it. Yep. So it was like a group of guys that like didn't look half bad, and we played like decent music.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I pushed it hard enough, once Taylor and I started playing music together, I saw it. I'm like, man, this is something real, I think. And I went to Florida because of BMX. I mean, it's ultimately brought me here today, so no regrets at all.
Yeah.
But I always wonder, I wonder because it's not a regret and it's not a what if. It's
curiosity.
It's the curiosity of I've worked so hard at everything I do, and I feel so grateful to have been able to be a part of certain industries in the capacity I was. Due to that hard work, but not because I wanted to climb a ladder, simply because I loved what I was doing.
Yeah.
And that sheer passion and dedication to what I was doing, because I simply loved it, took me to places that I never thought I would ever go.
Yeah.
So I can't help but wonder what music would have done, because I felt and still do feel more passionately about music than anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
Because it moves you in more ways than anything ever could.
Yeah.
I mean, we're listening. It's a rainy day, and we're going to get coffee, and we're just covered in goosebumps listening to music. You know what I mean? Like
just sitting outside my house, like a group of absolute creeps, just
high schoolers.
Music just like blaring in the car. Haley's working. Like, what are they doing outside?
Seriously,
we're just like
air drums,
drumming back and forth, and just like listen to this song, listen to this song. Like Kayla's in the back of the car, just like, you guys finished yet?
Yeah,
like,
Kayla's filming us.
Seriously, we're just like, and this bit, and like the vocals are doing this and that, and just was like,
rip this part. This right here. Wait, oh no, it's the next measure. No, wait, no, it's the next measure. There goes the time right here.
Yeah, there it is. Like.
Yeah, see, it makes you feel so like alive in like so many different ways.
Yeah.
And seriously, I mean, it's funny saying this, but just the 2 days that we've been here, like talking about music, and like it's gotten me so motivated about like music, because as I told you, like my Telecaster has like the intonation's all off, and I can't even tune it at this point because the neck's warped, and I've just been putting it off. I'm so busy with car stuff. I mean, as you know, I'm just stacking up car projects, and it's like it just takes so much time working on the YouTube stuff. I'm just flat out being self-employed. But I'm like, I'm so close to buying the new Jazzmaster.
Do it
with and being like,
do it,
because like music doesn't care about age. You know what I mean? Like maybe labels and stuff do, but like nobody cares about labels nowadays. You got YouTube, and you've got like Spotify and iTunes. Like do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just inspiring me so much, because I feel like that's the one aspect of my life that I haven't given like my all to. Because like the going would get rough, and I'd be like, no, I'm done with these guys. I'm out. Like you guys, like I'm just out.
Yeah.
And Taylor shows serious interest in doing something, even if it's remote. And I'm like, man, that could be like something serious.
But I lost like the love for music for a long time. But after the band, I just didn't have any like interest whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I kind of like went into myself, like kind of retreated from it, and like, because I always used to like sing along in the car and stuff like that, as you do.
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't even do that. Like,
Really?
I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And it was like it's only to like kind of like about very recently, actually, like a couple of years ago, that I kind of like, it's like actually enjoy singing.
I can't not do it.
Yeah,
I can't. Like it's just part of me.
And because obviously as you get older, you know, your vocals change naturally. My range used to be quite high, but now it's
Or mine is. It's mid-range.
Mid-range.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely way more mid-range. And I've learned to kind of master it and use it, and like listen to bands. I'm just like, yeah, that's like where my voice should be.
Yep.
You know, I was saying like Daryl Palumbo, like his voice, the way he uses it, like just goes up and down. It's got like a real kind of like deep, kind of like breathy parts. Like that kind of just suits me.
Right.
It just works. And there's a band, Lower Definition. You heard of those?
I've heard of them. Yeah. I don't know if I've actually.
The vocalist sounds very much like Daryl, vocal style, but a bit more range. So I kind of like sing along to those a little bit, but that kind of like gets me going again. I'm
right.
It's like,
the itch is still there.
I'm kind of like, I kind of enjoy it.
It's in your blood.
Now. I'm just like, and it's frustrating because like when it comes to like writing music from scratch on my own, it's like no chance.
Yeah.
I'm not like, you can play everything. And you can like, arrange a song, write a song, every single part. I can't. I'm just like, I can just sing. That's it. So, but I'm actually like really happy just singing along in the car and just like, kind of like discovering my voice more.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
As stupid as it sounds.
Yep.
And just having fun.
Yeah.
Just have fun.
That's where like I had ideas of like playing out with the Rising Sea. This was before 2020, but like, I would just love for it to be living on like streaming services, and maybe
just
dedicate
being out there.
Yeah, and maybe since I'm so into the YouTube stuff with the automotive stuff, like maybe have like a YouTube channel for the Rising Sea of like writing songs and like kind of being interactive with it that way. But
if one person enjoys listening to it,
it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah, especially with music, because I feel like it moves that person in so many different ways.
And it has like that knock-on effect. Because it inspires them maybe not directly to write music. They might not be a musician, but it'll inspire them to do something else.
Yeah,
and like that's the beauty of music and like the beauty of just creating in general. Like like the YouTube channels.
Yeah,
I've been really fortunate with YouTube.
Yeah, we should speak about that too before we end, because you have what's called Build Create.
Yep.
Right on YouTube. And it's automotive. You do and I wanted to make sure we covered this too. Like the fenders, the over fenders on the Brat, like you've documented building all that stuff from scratch.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're at like 30,000 subscribers.
Yeah. About just under 30,000.
Done quite well.
Like more than I ever would have thought.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But obviously because the internet can be obviously, very, very toxic. And, everyone knows that the comment sections are just brutal.
Always. Yeah.
Like a lot of people obviously, really famous people just like they post and ghost.
Yep.
Don't read it, which is the best thing to do. But I've been very, very fortunate. Like I can't even remember having a negative comment, which may sound like big-headed.
Right.
But
but it's just a good audience.
I think, I have a really good, honest audience that relate to it. I try and explain everything in as much detail as possible and show as much detail as possible. And for the most part of it, I'm kind of like learning as I go along.
Yep.
So it's like, and the comments, a lot of the comments I got is just like, I've never thought of doing that. I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yep.
I'm done. Cool.
Inspiring people.
Yeah. I'm like, great. That's what I wanted.
That's huge.
That's all I want is for, I like going to shows, like select shows. I don't go to all the shows, but I'm not really fussed about them ultimately.
Car shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy just in my garage building, challenging myself.
Yeah.
To make something better every time.
Yeah.
I just want to, that's what I love. I love the process, the build up to it, obviously, driving it's fun, but for me, it's not as good as building it.
I mean, and that's inspirational because I've said it time and time again that I'm constantly trying to love the journey more.
Yeah.
Because I find I don't want to cut corners, nor do I ever set out to, but I'm always like starting a project with a deadline. I'm like, all right, we're gonna go. And I'm like, and I want that finished. I want it aired out or whatever in the yard. Like we gotta get it done before the show or something. And so as I'm getting older, I'm really trying. As I'm getting older, and I'm like learning more as well. Because I, just like you, I mean, I think when I sit back and I look at the big picture, I realize how much I'm learning every project. Yeah. Even if it's just like something new about that specific platform, cars. I'm really trying to slow down and get to that point.
Yeah.
Because I do the rat race. I mean, for goodness sake, I'm here in England for a car show ultimately.
Yeah.
but I'm really trying to focus on loving the journey more because this is like a long road thing. Like my dad's in his late 60s, still building muscle cars and working on stuff. And like I love it so much. It's going to be part of my life forever.
Yeah. Like we're never going to stop.
Right.
Like your dad, he's never going to stop.
My grandfather I told you about.
Yeah.
Like building old motors blind.
Yeah.
Couldn't even see.
Yeah. Taking, your car to a show. Yeah. It's great. It's great. But yeah, I just love building. It's just,
it's great.
So much more enjoyable. I've learned to not kind of get obsessed over dates,
Yeah.
like it took quite a lot because one year, I think it was like the first year back, the car shows came back after COVID. Like I was working on the Brat and I was just like, it's like the end of the year, like, obviously next year, like it's going to be show season and stuff. And like, got to get it ready. And at one point I was just like, why is it got to be ready for this year?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. No one's going to be there like, where's your car? It's at home.
Right.
It's not ready. It's not done.
I like that resolve. I feel like that's people do that in America, but I feel like more often than not, I see that in Europe. Like people are just like, it's like a 6-year build.
Yeah.
Like just, be ready when it's right.
Yeah. So like, I just, skipped like a whole year of shows and, I didn't even go to any shows.
Wow.
Cause usually I go to Players and, Retro Eyes cause like they're just down the road.
Right there. Yeah.
It's right there. Obviously I saw the pictures and I was a little bit like, would have been nice to go.
Yeah.
But I was like, I was just in the garage, I was just working on the car, and I'm so happy I've done it because it's changed my outlook completely on building cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's ultimately there's no deadline,
Yeah.
Just do it when
that's awesome.
when you want, and a good friend of mine, guy called Lee Johns, like he messaged me a while ago and he's like, dude, like, I can't remember where I said it. It might have been like on a YouTube video or like an Instagram post about it, or I might be messaging him. I can't remember. And he's like, yeah, you made me realize that like, deadlines don't really exist. Mm-hmm. They're man-made. You make them up yourself, and if you can make them, you can unmake them.
Right. Yeah.
It's just enjoy the journey. Like, it sounds stupid, but I enjoy the journey to car shows more than I do car shows.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand.
It's kind of similar to the build,
right?
It's like all the anticipation and everything building up to it.
Especially if you're driving with some friends, you know, and they're in their cars that they've put their blood, sweat, and tears into, and you're cruising up the highway and you're seeing everyone's cars rolling. They're not in the garage. I love that so much.
Just mobbing down the road.
Man, then you see like a photo of your car rolling or something. You're like, oh, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
That's so cool.
Love it. Well,
so cool.
I'm trying to learn that too, man. And this visit to you guys has been inspirational for sure.
I've had a lot of fun. I
appreciate the invite. I'm glad we made
welcome anytime, dude.
I'm glad we made the drive down.
Next year, same time next year.
Yeah, well, we should do this again.
Yeah, 100%, but at your house.
To the States. Yeah, get you in my podcast studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
Next time we'll talk about movies.
Yeah, like we could talk for
hours.
We have been. Well, we've been talking for days.
We are like 2 hours flat.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was perfect.
This was like we could just keep on going. If we wanted to.
Yeah, we would end up asleep in these chairs.
Yeah, we would do. Like we were talking about it earlier that like
be found in the morning.
The girls will just come in the morning, which like
still recording. It's turned into an ASMR.
Yeah,
sleep
exactly.
Podcast.
Like just drool.
Yeah,
just there, just like.
I'll look at the YouTube analytics, and that's where everyone started listening. All the ASMR people came in when we fell asleep.
Giant spike.
Just listening to us breathe and snore.
Yeah, just like, these guys are great.
Oh, man. Well, on that note, dude,
okay,
it is late. We'll get some sleep.
Yeah.
We're headed to London in the morning.
Yeah.
And then flying out the day after tomorrow. So we got lots to do. But this has been awesome. So this wasn't even planned to be here, to have you on the podcast.
Totally off the cuff.
This was great. I'm really glad we got a chance to do this because I knew we'd have a lot to talk about between music, movies, cars, everything. So much more to talk about too, I'm sure. So, well, that'll do it. Yeah, socials. Chris, CHRIS.
Yep.
Dot
Purr.
PURR.
Yeah, on Instagram and TikTok. And then if you just search Build Create on YouTube, or you just put in Subaru Brat or Subaru SVX, then my videos ultimately
perfect
pop up.
Yeah, Build Create.
Yep. So check them out if you want to kind of see how I've built things, you know, see like the processes, and you can like take from it what you will, you know, hopefully be inspired by it, you know, then like my job is done. I'm happy.
Absolutely. And I think they will, because I do.
Yeah.
You know, like,
bless you. It's so nice.
Gotta get more out.
Yeah.
Even Haley tonight was like, gotta get more out.
Like so lazy.
Yeah.
It's like, I have got lazy, and I do feel bad. But this whole 2 days, I've been like,
awesome. Well, I'm glad I could help
I'm
in a
going
way.
to get back into it.
Because this here takes forever. This
know.
whole podcast thing, it's like, wait. And
people don't know how long we spent like arranging the plant.
The spider plant right
The
here.
spider plant.
Yeah. Yeah, setting this up. But it's been awesome, man.
Man,
I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure.
That's it, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
See you in the next episode.
Take care.
Bye-bye.